Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 62 of my 100-day project. I am working with drawing oils. These are by R&F, and they are a form of their oil stick line. What I learned from yesterday is that I want to tone my panel in advance. So I took a little bit of that cadmium orange drawing oil and I went ahead and just added some to the surface and took a little bit of solvent to thin it out and brush it on the same way I would with oil paint. And while the solvent was still kind of wet, I saw some shapes in there that were in the shape of some features of a face. I saw a mouth and an eyes and a nose and a little bit of this hair shape. So that's what I went with today. And I just went from there. So I'm trying to implement some of the things I learned yesterday, which is to use a bit of a lighter hand. The other thing that I did today that was different is instead of starting with shadows, I started with sort of midtones. One of the things I learned, although these layer really nicely, it's a little more challenging once you get a lot of paint on the surface to layer the lighter highlights. So I thought, well, if I start with the midtones, maybe that will help a little bit and it'll make it easier for me to get the highlights, and then I can always go darker. So that's what I ended up doing, and I pulled out more of my drawing oils. So I have a broader range of colors, and I kind of threw a bunch of colors at it today. This is not a limited palette. So I just went with a mix of warm and cool colors to kind of get something going here. And I've got my mind on a lot of other things. So to be honest, I don't know that I was fully present with her as I was painting her today, unlike maybe in some of my other sessions. So it's interesting when that happens. When I'm not fully present and I'm painting, it's almost like two things happen. Three potential things. One, I could end up fighting with it because I'm not paying attention. Two, I could end up like somewhere completely different than where I thought I would be because I'm not paying attention. So it's just sort of evolving. And three, sometimes I can get out of my own way and come up with something I really love. So it's interesting. Not being present can not always be a bad thing for me, in the sense that the part of me that's not present is the part of me that gets in my way, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I did end up loving her at the end. And so it was an interesting experience for me today. But these are just so mushy and lovely, and I love how messy they are. So yes, I could use a brush. Yes, I could smooth them out. Yes, I could add solvent. But for me, like, why? Like, the point of using a drawing oil, in my opinion, is to get those big, chunky, loose marks. If I wanted something smooth and blended and more detailed, I would just break out my oil paints. Like, what's the point? So I really like, kind of like with oil pastels, you can use solvent with oil pastels and get really smooth blends and the whole thing. But again, like, that's not why I like to use them. I like to use them because they give you these really big textural, chunky marks. So this is the part of the painting where she is scary AF, and that's okay because I know it's a process and I never really worry about it. But I do really love how messy she is. And as I'm going through this process, I'm just thinking to myself, how fun is this? Like, things are messy and you can't get really fine details. And even though the sticks themselves are about the size of an oil pastel, roughly, it's not easy to get really, really fine detailed marks. And they form a skin over them as they dry. And it's great because it protects the oil stick. But when you haven't used them in a while or they're brand new like these are, you have to wipe that away, or you could use an X-Acto knife to kind of scrape that out. And if you don't remove it, that hardened paint film, it will scratch into your work because it's hard. It doesn't reconstitute. So it is a process of kind of getting that hard skin off and getting them to where they're really soft and creamy. So that was one thing. I skipped ahead a lot of that. I spent a lot of time wiping these off. And again, they're new, so I haven't been using them. And I've realized that unbleached titanium, I'm going through it a lot. And I use it for blending, kind of like with my oil pastels. So that's good for me to know. I still haven't found where my titanium white is. I'm sure I've got one somewhere. I don't know. I've got a bunch of boxes that I haven't fully opened all the way, and my guess is that it's in there. So I'm using the unbleached titanium for now, which I really like. I'm still getting the contrast. Maybe in the eye I would have liked a little bit brighter, so I might actually go digging and find that for tomorrow. But I am loving just layering some of that skin from when I wiped off the skin from one of them ended up getting stuck in there. You can put it in your painting if you want to. Why not? Like, it's just texture, it's paint. But I love like those loose edges that you get with oil paint. You can do this with oil pastel as well. I love the way they smell, to be honest. I really do love linseed oil, and I love the way oil paint smell. So the process of this is very sensory, how it feels, how it slides around, how it smells. I really, really enjoy it. And all the texture that's getting created as well, I find to be super, super fun. I did a little bit of that heart kind of shape on her cheeks. Again, I'm just feeling the love, and her lips are super bright. They are like just that pure red pigment with a little bit of that unbleached titanium over it, maybe a little bit of teal in the middle there, but there she is in all of her glory. I couldn't figure out what to do with her neck, so I ended up making clothing. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I take 2 steps forward. I'm getting better at noses, but now I can't do necks. So I don't know. One thing at a time. And it will all evolve eventually. But look at all that texture. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And because I toned it at the beginning, that's where that orange is coming through from the background. And even though it was oil paint, it was fairly dry because I mixed it with some of that solvent. So there we go. Second day of oil stick. Another day tomorrow. Another painting. Take care of you. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.